I hope everyone had a good weekend. It is Monday, 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is CptWoozle popping in. Let's see if we can my icon up a little more. There we go. This is CptWoozle coming in for more coding. That's the wrong window. Still the wrong window. I could have sworn I just selected. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. I am still in the midst of writing the trading journal, but we're in kind of the final week of the trading journal pieces. So there are a handful of things that I have left to do that I want to do for this iteration of the trading journal, and then I'll continue to work on it since then. But let me kind of run everything. It's all on the GitHub for those who are interested. Let's just do a quick run through real quick and show you where we are at. So currently, implementation wise, we have Nest on the back end. We have CptWoozle on the back end as well for our database. Give me a second. I need to. We have CptWoozle on the back end for the database. There we go. We have CptWoozle on the back end for the database. We have Nest on the back end for our back end, and we have React on the front end. We have a bunch of different technologies on the front end. I will update my README probably on Friday or over the weekend. Probably over the weekend. I think I'll be cutting it fairly close. With all of the final like tables and technologies that I'm using. I'm using quite a few on the front end, including Font Awesome and Emotion and Axios and Bootstrap and Chart.js, and I'm not using the faker anymore, so I can probably get rid of you. I don't think I'm using Lodash anywhere, but let me just double check. Let me look. I'm using it in the search component. Cool. I'm using it for debounce. I am using React Beautiful Drag and Drop and Bootstrap and React Hooked Form and React Redux and a bunch of other things. I'm not using the wizard, but I could. But I think I'm gonna uninstall the wizard. Let me just do a quick search. Yeah, I'm not. So let me open up another. Let me close this out. CD frontend, npm uninstall. Wait, what? Come on. npm uninstall, React use wizard. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. Let me go back up and restart everything. So it's not bad. Again, I think it's a decent starting point. I don't think it's all the best. So here's our generic landing page. I've incorporated authentication into this. Let me move my mic back a little bit. So I've incorporated authentication into this. Register, etc. So I think for the, let me create a new note over here. I'll call it the trading journal notes, and the things that I want to tackle next. So one of the things that I want to incorporate next is include the ability to log in from Google/Facebook and incorporate probably OAuth or Auth0. So that's one of the things that's going to be on the list, and I'll move my list over here so people can see. So we have the incorporate OAuth. There's one thing. Probably want to change the look to be more uniform. So that's one of the things. Next, one of the things I want to incorporate is any additional profile / system changes. And until I use the application, I won't know what all of those are. It's supposed to be any. And what else do I want to incorporate? Import and export system. And maybe futures, stock futures. And maybe more detailed logs for options. So options actually have a unique identifier that identifies the option. Let me show you what that looks like. Options chain for, let's do Microsoft. So the option chain for, say, Microsoft would look something along the lines of this. This specific number right here. So, and it basically just means the Microsoft January 2024 2800 call. But the unique identifier is this right here. And currently, I'm not saving that or pulling that up anywhere. And I think that might be a neat feature to add. And maybe maybe redesign the add trade form. So there's that too. Add HTTPS. Maybe create a Docker. So there's like lots of little things that I might want to do. But let's, I digress. So here's our initial system. Let's log out. You can log in. I just have some test data at the moment. Test.com. And I think I changed you to test. Yep. Don't save. So this is our initial system right here that I've created. This is all real. That's not real data. It's data that I put in. It's mock data, but the charts are all updated based upon that mock data. So I have my performance by trade chart, performance by amount, trades in the last 7 days, trades in the last 7 days by the amount, win-loss by stock, quantity, so forth and so on. So here's my overall form. Some of the things that I've implemented over the past couple of days while offline is I implemented the trade journal, some random info. When it saves the entry, it gives me my, successfully saved, and it changes the icon to this edit icon rather than the trade journal icons. So that was implemented. And then from there, you can reopen it up and choose to edit the entry and or let's put some spaces in here. You can either choose to edit the entry or delete the entry, and when you do so, it changes the icon back. The other piece that was implemented, and I think I had this implemented before, was the ability to either select everything or I basically had checkboxes. So you can either select all, select none. And so now that's incorporated, and it won't let you delete until you select one. Oh yeah, I want to put a note. I forgot there's a note that I wanted to add. On broker page, add pop-up to let people know deleting a broker will remove all the trades. So and it's organized by broker. There are a couple other charts that I might try to incorporate, but I'll add that as an extra. The other thing I incorporated was a hide and show functionality. So it can now hide and show columns. That functionality was incorporated. You can now drag and drop the various columns to where you want them. So that's a feature and functionality that I incorporated or added in as well. So drag and drop, the ability to show and hide columns. Pagination is already there. I cleaned this up a little bit so it's a little straighter rather than where it was at. And yeah, all of my charts are kind of set up and behaving the way that I generally want them to. There are a couple others that I want to incorporate, but again, those are extras, and I'll worry about those as I continue to use them. So that's kind of the general recap of what we have here. And again, it's a fairly simple platform. I think there's more that could be incorporated. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. And then I have my profile and my brokers. I haven't tested the wizard yet. So that's one thing. We'll save you as desktop files. We'll call you the trade journal to do. And what I'll probably do is over the next few months is, maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, try to spend maybe like a couple hours here, a couple hours there. Probably like I'll do a jam session probably once a week for like on a Saturday or Sunday where I spend 4 or 5 hours just knocking out function after function after function to incorporate it. So I think that's about it for kind of the revamp. Now what I plan to do today is I don't have it saving the sorted and moved columns. And that's what I need to save is the sort and the moved columns. So once they've rearranged things, pass that information back up to the parent and, have that be a thing. And I never implemented the edit the trade system. It's not too terrible, but I haven't. I have not added a banner and a pop-up system. We'll see if I have time to do that. I may need to move that. I know that I won't have time to do that. So I'll move that over to the to-do list so that we can have some way of doing the banners. What's over here? Oh, Hyundai. So I do want to put in the trade system, edit the trade system. I'm not sure if I want to put in the add remove widgets, and it's only because it adds another layer of complexity that I'm going to have to deal with. And right now I don't have a dedicated list of widgets. I think there's some things that I want to revamp about that. So right now a lot of these widgets, as I look at them now, and as I look back upon them, in terms of the design on the dashboard, they're pretty much the same. They all have the same refresh icon. There's different sizes and things, but that's all determined by the dashboard. And what I can probably do is to take the generic information and just replace it as a card body. The use effects are pretty much going to be, dependent upon the name. But again, we could probably create a generic component that these are based off of rather than doing each of them one by one by one. Now they all take slightly different charts. So like these over here to the left, like the most traded in the account value, don't actually have any charts in them. But the bar charts do. So maybe we can define kind of a generic chart, if you will, component, and then 2 subcharts that inherit from that main chart, where you could say this is a pie chart and this is a bar chart, and from there, customize it as needed. But I mean, I also don't have to go that particular direction. Keeping it very separated out now means that there's less overhead. When you create those generic components, as soon as one exception happens, you have to modify it so that that generic, of course, is changed across the board, and that can always create headaches, because now you're like, oh, so only this one component needs this, but now I have to change it so that, it handles this one exception and build all of that. And I ran into the same thing with the paginated table. Is as soon as I was like, well, this one thing needs it, now I have to build it into all of them. So we'll see how that goes. Sorry, somebody messaged me. All right, cool. So that's kind of where we're at with this. And like I said, today the plan is to allow for the saving of the sorted columns. And I don't really have a place for that. So I think the approach that I'm going to take for this is as follows. Is I'm going to give each table a unique name, and then create a controller, a table controller to, well, it's a whole thing, controller, service, etc., to save the table, so that when it's updated, it automatically writes to it. It'll also write it to memory as well, so I'll have that there. Now, I really only designed it for the one table, so it'll be interesting to see if I want to reuse this component. So that's a bit of a misstep on my part. I created this generic component, but then the way that I created the slices, it really wasn't set up for this. But I guess the slice is fine. It'll just be the trade slice, and therefore, because it's the trade slice, it'll be written to the trade to the trade slice. Well, it's to a table specifically associated with the trade. So I need to create a table controller, a table saving controller and service to save the table, and so that when the trade log loads up, it will pull the information out of the table saving controller. When the component loads, try to get the config from the DB, save the config into memory, and that's it. So I think the first step that I'm going to do, looking at this, let's close all the things, is let's come over here to our trade log. We have all of the, it's a massive piece here. It has so many pieces. But what we're going to do is have it so there's two variables here, column visibility, and columns.reduce, and the columns, they come in from there. So yeah, we have column order and set columns order. So we're going to need to take our columns order. We're going to need to take basically these two state variables and move them into we're going to take these two state variables and move them into our slice, and then have it so that they can be written. So let's go over here to our trades and create some slices. Okay, so there's our sort config variable. And so we need a columns order. And we need a column visibility. Now, one of the things that you run into is that somewhere along the lines, you have to compensate when you, as a developer, change what columns are available. Because what's going to happen is you're going to save a column, a series of columns in a specific order, and then when you bring them back, you now have to see, well, one, do all of those columns still exist? So we have our list of columns up here, along with whatever format I added. That's one thing that I also added is I created a special format function that you could pass into the columns so that each column could be formatted independently, since I decided to create my own table component. I could have used somebody else's, I suppose, and it probably would have been easier, but it was a fun challenge, I think, to kind of think through all of those little scenarios myself. But anyway, back to this. We're going to save the column order and the column visibility. And the thing that we're going to have to figure out is when these options, let's say we change the columns, we somewhere along the lines have to, let's say we bring a list of columns back, let's say the symbol column is now no longer there, we now need to compare what's in the config and the columns order with what's visible. So we're going to have to do some of that lifting somewhere along the lines. But for now, let's just write it to the state, and then we'll create the pieces that will save it to the database. And so what I'll probably do is create a use effect function series of, I guess, memoirs. I guess this would be a good time to do it. Maybe. I'll create some functions that'll compare the columns that are available versus the columns that are visible, the column that is sorted, and the column order. But let's get these moved into the slice first. So there it is. We'll say const handle columns order. What is the columns order going to be? It's going to be an array, and it'll be updated with the columns. And let's double check that. Yeah, we're going to pass back the reordered columns. And when we do that, we need to create a function over here in the slice, set column order. Pass in a state action, and we'll say state dot columns order is going to be equal to action dot payload. Yay for Redux slice. And you'll just do the same thing. I think I do it somewhere up here. It looks like I moved all of them up there, so let's put these all up here so that they all behave the same, and put this original same way. And I think I want to investigate a couple different approaches for ESLint. But since I'm already up here, we'll make you async, and we'll do a wait dispatch. Trades actions dot Set. Oh, hold on. I created it down here, but I didn't add it up here to the actions. Trades actions dot. Yep, set columns order to the columns. So that will be our columns one. Handle columns order. And then I need to track our columns up here. So that will set it. But then we need to grab it every time. Const columns order is going to be basically here. Trades and columns order. And we're going to test each one of these out as we go. So now we need to add two things. We need to do a sort config. Columns order is going to be equal to columns order. And we'll do on change columns order is going to be equal to, what do we want to call you? Oh yeah, I called it handle columns order. So now in our paginated table, we need to create this and this. This is going to be a function, and this is going to be an array. Yeah, it's getting pretty massive. Prop types function, and here in the columns order is going to be an array. Columns order prop types. Prop types dot array. So that will be you. So instead of having the columns order and on change columns order. Yep. And you'll fix that a bit. So let's find all our references to columns order. You're fine. So that's not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is the set columns order, since I called it the same. So let's look for all of the places where we had set columns order and clean those up. Set columns order. It now just goes on to the parent. I think there's only one place. Well, all right then. Great. Our trade log is good here, and we already pass it up to the parent. So let's double check that logic. That's good. I think let's go ahead and test out this functionality. Let's refresh. Ooh. That's a bug. Columns order dot map is not a functions. Columns order dot map. I know why. So there is a point where we pass in our columns. So we need to set this. We need to say if there is no columns order. So where is it? In the trade log. We need to say, so what's happening is we're trying to get the columns order from our slice. And by default, the column order slice is set to empty. It's not there, which is what I want. So we need a use effect here that, oh yeah, every time the sort config changed, we want a use effect that watches the column order And if there's no columns order, then then we dispatch it with the current list of columns. But it still may not be quite right. We'll see. And we should call you reordered columns. Reordered columns. That way it doesn't get confused with the columns that we literally call columns here on line 83. If there's no columns, then we dispatch the current list of columns. I don't know if that will save us. We'll see if it does. Nope. And in the meantime, we'll do this. We'll say column order or columns. Let's see if you're okay with that. No, you're not. Okay. And it's only caused by the .map. And it's because of the render row. So rather than clean it up here, so let's clean it up here when we render the row and say const available columns is going to be equal to columns order or columns. And then we'll do this. But it's empty. Let's put a breakpoint in here and see what's going on, because it shouldn't be empty. Let's do an inspect and see what's going on. Bring it over here. It's empty. Length is 0. Names column. Function columns. Wait. We clean that up. Hold on. Function columns. Columns order? We have columns order. Did I mess that up? Columns order is equal to columns order. Type array. Oh, I think any would be better here. Function columns. How do I want to handle you? Columns order. Here. Oh, I know why. I said columns as if it were a variable when it's actually a function. And so now let's see if that works. Let's see if that works without having to do all of that. Yeah, cool. So now there's no need for you. Let's refresh just in case. Yep, seems to be working fine. Let's play around with the order of things. Cool. And now if we refresh the page, ooh, it doesn't keep it though. Oh, yeah, that's right. I didn't implement that. But we have the information, and then when we save it, so there's our saving. And now, how do we want to get you back? Well, now hold on. If we've changed you here, so if we go back to profile and then the dashboard, you remember it. Oh, that's fine. It's the refresh that it doesn't, because we don't save it. We could save it all to local storage. Yeah. Let's save you a local storage, because there's not a reason not to. Yeah. Let's put you in local storage as well and have it so that it recalls it when you first load up. So let's do something similar to what we did in user profile. So in user profile, we have a bunch of logic that we do up at the top in the user profile slice, where we try to get certain information. So let's do a local storage.setItem for both our config and our columns. Trade log sort and trade log column order. And I think, since we're going to use it more than once, and some people would probably put this all into one. I'm keeping it where it is for now, but I do think that down the road there might be a need, if we have multiple tables, for me to build a much more robust system that handles that. So let's create a couple constants up here. Yeah, sure. Export const trade log sort. What do we want to call you? Trade log sort local storage key. It's going to be called trade log sort, and we don't actually need to export you. I don't know why I said export. Const trade log sort trade log column order local storage. It does begin with a C key, and it's going to be equal to what? Trade log column order. Just because we're going to use it more than once. And again, there's probably better naming conventions that we could use, but we'll just say you, and we'll just say you. Yeah, you. And then that will set it every time. And then when we go to load, we'll do similar logic to what we have up here, where let default sort order equal this, and let default columns order equal this, and we will do a try here. We'll catch any additional stuff here, and const sort. And now this is why. Then you have to do less reads. And that's always preferred. I just don't know how strongly I feel about it. I think I should feel strongly. Less reads, less writes. So that when we write, we'll create, I guess, an object. I just was trying not to do a lot of... I didn't want to do that. I'll look up some stuff on that. Well, I'm here now. Why not look it up? Let's do local storage. Read, right. Read, write. What do we call it? Best practices. Yeah, best practices. So simply enough. Yeah, no. No, I'm not storing sensitive information. Like, the username isn't that big. Here's an example, blah, blah, blah. Now that we're on the same page, if you're building a static site. Yeah, I mean, it's not that, I don't think we have that big of an ordeal. I'm not using any data protection. I don't want to store sensitive data in there. I'm not storing any JSON web tokens. User IDs, session IDs. No. I don't want to use it for sensitive information. Yeah, I don't think this is bad. We'll let it be for right now. So we'll do local storage. Local storage. Sort order. And we'll do the same thing. Get the item. And then we'll try to get things from it. And we'll say default sort order is going to be equal to json.parse. Local storage sort order. Yeah. And const local storage columns order. We'll do the same thing. So it'll try to get it from local storage if it's available. Do you want me to rename this to trades people's ls key? What? What is that? And we'll do the same thing here. Equals json.parse local storage columns user, and otherwise, yeah, columns order and sort order. Sort order, the default is null. Yeah. So let's refresh. Let's move over my broker. And if we refresh again, hey, we've kept our order. Now we just don't have it kept in the database. So now if we were to log out, do I do cleanup? I don't log out. Hold on. When I log out, I clean up a bunch of stuff. Let's go to my user slice. A lot of stuff on the screen. I clean up profile exchanges, brokers. I think I should move this somewhere. Let's do call you logout cleanup. And we'll call you logout cleanup. And you don't do anything but clean up local storage stuff for me. Then I don't have to keep putting it in here. It just doesn't feel appropriate. So now we'll just call logout cleanup. Yeah, we as well. And let's clean up you guys too. And there is a reason why I guess I did export these. Yeah, let's import you. And we'll do the same thing here. So we'll just do all my cleanup in one spot. Awesome. That's still in place. That's still in place. That saves that. Yes. We what? Oh no. No. I'm gonna have to say no. Seems like an advertisement. Let's see. How can I get rid of that? Chat settings. No. It's just no good. Let's just put you in a timeout for now. Yeah. Yeah, that's not cool. No advertisements. So you get to be in timeout. Okay, cool. Where was I? Oh yeah. Is it history somewhere? I don't think I did. Oh yeah. Hold on. I know what I did. I put this over here. And actually I don't have to. Hold on. No, you found it. It doesn't like it. Yeah, and I'll worry about that at one point. We'll put a note. We'll say that. So, oh yeah, I put in a bunch of checks so that the system doesn't leave in empty stuff. So we've kept the sort order, and now we need to keep. It's a lot of writes to the database. Do we care? Do we care? Because we only call it when we first log in, right? So we're going to do a similar thing to what we do somewhere else, isn't it? So when the person, we'll worry about that in a second. That takes care of the column order, the sort order, and next is the column visibility, and we'll at least set the groundwork for that here so that it'll be ready. And we'll create our export const here. And we probably can just call you, well, let's let them be trade log for right now, because I'm worried that if we add other columns, then, or other things, we will want to know what those keys are. We'll say trade log column visibility. And we'll put you here. Local storage column visibility. Get item. And we'll do the same thing here. JSON.parse without the J. Local storage visibility. Yeah, right. We'll set you the default column visibility. Let's create our function here. At column visibility, state action. Yeah, state that column visibility, and we'll take you and you and do that. It's going to be complaining about other things. Oh, yeah. Let's clean it up too. So local storage dot remove item. So now you're clean too. Let's go over here to our paginated table. You need a column visibility, and by default, it's going to be equal to this. So we need to do a change here in trade log. So first, we need a use effect, and what we want is we're going to do another. We're going to create a column visibility here. as a variable. We'll do a use selector. We'll do this. We'll get the column visibility. Then our use effect is going to monitor that column visibility. And if there's no column visibility, what we're going to do is dispatch trades actions dot. Oh, I forgot to add it up here. Dot set column visibility. And it's going to be this. Columns dot reduce. Da, 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 da. So what we're probably going to do is we're going to change our dispatch so that when if there's no column visibility, we are going to change these so that we say we'll create a getter, and our getter action will try to get the information first from itself. So it will check to see if there's anything available in local storage, in the memory. If there's nothing in memory, then it will check. Well, it already does this. This will check memory. So if there's none, it will attempt to check local storage first. I can't imagine why it wouldn't be there, but I guess I can't. Let me think of a scenario where somehow you got to this page. No. So it's going to check, and if there's no column visibility, we're going to pass in this data and the data from the database. We're going to say, hey, go and get the data from the database and pass in this data. If there's no data from the database, but again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's slow down. Paginated table, column visibility, use selector. So we need to add two things here. We need to add a column visibility. Let's do this. Const handle column visibility async. Clone it. And we need to pass in the column, just like everything else. And we're going to do this. So instead of this, we're going to await.dispatch. Yeah. We're going to await.dispatch trades actions dot set column visibility, which is the exact same thing that we had here. You are unhappy about that. Why? Visibility. Did I did. I forgot a parentheses. Okay. So there's you. And then that means we should come down here to our paginated table and add in column visibility. Yeah, we'll add in column visibility. It's going to be equal to column visibility. And on changed column visibility is going to be equal to handle. Cool. And then we need to do the same thing. So column visibility is going to be just a single string any. Yeah. Prop types any. Yeah, I don't like it, but it'll be okay for now. And the on change column visibility will be a function. All right. Then when we do something called set column visibility, so we no longer need you. We do just need you. You can just become, yeah. So let's find all the references of you. You will just become on change. And so yes, so now there's no need. So now we have our on change column visibility and column visibility. And now this is no longer needed. It is now handled up above. Let's make sure all of our references to column visibility, though, are good. Yep. Okay. Now let's see whether that works. Have a little icon here. I don't really care about what column. I don't really care about the strike price. You remembered it? Cool. Let's refresh. Strike price is still invisible. Yay! All right. And yeah, remember that brokers first. And if we unhide strike price, there we go. So that works. The next step that I'm going to work on is saving it to the database. Now, again, I'm kind of walking through things a bit slower than I normally would if I were just programming on my own, talking through stuff. Normally, I'd move a bit faster about this. So, these would be let's see. What can we change? So I think the thing that we would need to do is we would need to move these actions into here as extra actions, so that what will happen is they'll do the thing, and then they will save it to the database at the same time. But we need an endpoint for that. So let's close all these tabs. Let's close all these tabs. Let's open up our project. And let's pause for a moment and think about what we want to do for this table. So, at this point, let's take a look at what we want to do for our table. So let's kind of break down how I might want to think about this. So let's create a table. We'll call it saved table. And somebody just messaged me. Hold on a second. Apparently someone's messaging me. Let me silence this. Anyway, so let's call it the saved. We'll call it table config. And we'll be specific. So we'll call you paginated. Paginated. Let's call you the paginated table config. And it'll add on the S. So we'll just call you paginated table config. You'll have a config ID that will continue to be a GUID. So we'll create a config ID. We are saving the sort. So we'll call you the sort columns. You're going to be a string. And we'll do visible columns. We'll actually make you a text. It can be long then, really long. And what's our other variable name? I'm getting old. These things as well as I used to. And so one of the things I'm probably going to do after I finish this is I'm going to take, when I finish at the end of this week, when I take a break, I'm going to ask someone who I know as another developer to take a look at it and give me their hard and honest opinion about it. And then last is, wait, we should just keep them in the same name. So columns order and columns visibility. And it'll create the rest. Now I don't need anything else. So that will be our paginated table config. Config ID, sort columns, columns order and visibility. It doesn't need to save them. Oh yeah, hold on. Table name. And user ID, almost forgot about that. Yeah. And then the table name is a string. Now, one of the things that I remembered that I did not do, and I might have to recreate the table, and I'll do that as a cleanup more than likely, is I did not specifically tie a user to each of the tables. So in SQLize, you can create a here. You can attach a user similar to the way that I did this. So a user belongs to many or has one. I did not do that for user ID. So technically, a user ID does not have to exist for the data to be there, but it should. And it's one of the things that I may go back and reapproach, but I don't know if I will right now. I think I'm okay. But anyway, paginated table configs. We'll have a config ID, a user ID, table name, and we'll allow these to be null, and then they can be written as needed. We'll do an upsert. So yeah, we'll do an upsert from there. So yeah, we'll do an upsert here, and yeah, no. So I'm almost done with the remember table changes piece. Then I need to create a endpoint for that. So I'll create a controller to save sort order. And do we want one for each of them? Why don't we create a... So there's no reason that the slice wouldn't start. So why don't we just at the start create a getter, get column. So when the slice starts up, can we do that? Hold on a second. Let's take a look. Let's look and see. In Redux slice. Yeah. What we'll do is we'll create a Redux. When we create our slice, it's going to be empty by default. So when it first loads the trade log, we'll check to see if they're empty. We'll check to see if all of them are empty. And so we'll call it get table config, and we'll do a check to see if sort. Well, so the problem is that they could be empty. Shite. How do we want to do that? Redux. Can we load from the database on init? So we set init, set DD values. Well, so the problem is that we might want to be like, oh, we'll do it on init. But so here's the weird loop, and yes, I can do it. Here's the problem. Let's say someone takes a look at the table and never changes it. So our custom sort will still continue to be 0. It was going to get that anyway, wasn't it? Yes, it was. Because whenever we loaded... No, it wouldn't. No, hold on. Let's take a look at something. So, in our paginated table component, we say columns order on column sort. Let's take a look, because what we do is we don't set a sort, do we? Oh yeah. So sort could always be empty. And it's always checking, isn't it? I wonder if it's just looping all day. Let's take a look. Because we would want to nip that in the bud real quick. Because that's what we don't want to have. We want to have it populated at least once. And I don't think I do have it populating. And where are you? Trade slice. So let's come over here and look at the trade log and see if we ever get a value for trade log. If we ever get a value for sort. Because I don't think we ever care. I don't think we care at all. We've been ignoring it. Sort config. Let's see where we use it. Fetch trades. Yeah, we get them here. And we don't check anywhere else, do we? That handles it. And we watch it here. But we don't check to see if it's empty. So, what do we want to do? How do we want to handle it? I guess this is why most people by default says sort config. So that, or we could not check it. But how do we remember that someone is sorted? I know. So let me think through this. So what if we check to see if at the start, when we load up local storage, we'll have the thing that they've checked before. So there are several scenarios that I'm thinking about. If they log out, that'll clear everything, so you're fine. But let's say we log in the very first time, check to see if column order, check. for column visibility. And then we sit down and say they're going to be empty because there's nothing in local storage. So then get the info from the DB, which will also bring back the sort. So that will bring back the sort columns and all of that. Now, here's the conundrum. Let's say for some silly reason we clear out the sort order. I don't know if I can think of all the scenarios this would work for. Cleaning out the sort order, so, but I guess potentially. Okay, so we sort the columns. I'm just trying to think of all the other little like edge cases. Edge cases are always tough. So let's say you don't log out. You sort the column, but you don't log out. Well, it's saved in local storage, so that's fine. And then when you log in on another computer, it's the first time, and you have no local storage, it'll be fine. The only time that I can think it'll be an issue is if somehow you've sorted the columns and you sorted the columns, you didn't change the column visibility. You sorted the columns, you changed the column visibility, you changed the columns order, and then you went into local storage and deleted the sort columns, and then it would fail. Yes. But I can't think of another scenario where column visibility, bringing it all back, if you just check columns order and columns visibility. So it'll check them. And let's say they didn't know, let's say they never changed it. So let's say they log in, they've never changed column order and column visibility. It will at least the very first time check to see, it will say, oh, they're empty, because you logged in for the first time, they're empty. We go to the database, we pull the information back, we save the columns order and the column visibility. And if you did sort, let's see. So I think the scenario should work for the most part. So we'll create a generic get table config. We'll create something to save the sort order, something to save columns order, and save columns visibility. We only really need one getter, and it'll get the table config when the table loads. So let's go ahead and build out these pieces now that we kind of have the general approach laid out. Let's go to our backend. Let's build a new folder. We'll call you paginated paginated table config. Yes. Okay, and like a bunch of our others, we are going to do a new file, paginated table config. Wow, that's a mouthful. Dot, and we'll copy you so that we have you. Dot controller.ts. We need a module. We need a service, and then we need a model TS. And now these only have one item. They only have one item in them. I guess I could officially include them as the empty item or the item ID, but I think that's a little vague in this instance. So let's create a new file for each of the pieces, which is really just going to be save sort order .model.ts. And we should probably instead just call it, let's rename it to just sort order. The sort order model file, columns order model, and file columns visibility .model.ts. Okay. Let's create the models first, and it's just going to have a sort order string, and like some of the others, you cannot be empty. And do we want the ability to clear it out? We will. We'll create an ability. Sort order. Why don't we create one big item, which we will call a paginated table. New file. We'll call you a new paginated table .model.js.ts, and instead we'll do this. And here we will allow in a user ID. No, we don't need the user ID. We do want a table name, and you cannot be blank. You cannot be empty. But the sort columns can be columns order can be, and the column visibility can be. And they will just be, you know, we'll grab them as they go along. So when they do a sort or insert of a sort order, and in actuality, now that I think about it, we could probably even make it even simpler. We could just insert. Let's change you up. So you just save a table config and update, upsert, whatever is there. So yeah, we'll make it simpler. So you'll only do one update. We'll do one post, yeah, and it will update. I guess it would be officially a patch but we'll call it in post for now. Yeah. And so let's build our model out. We'll do our model like a broker. Yeah, I'm okay with that. At table export class paginated table. Paginated table. Whoa. Paginated table config extends model paginated table config. Voila. We will instead call view config ID. It's way too long. String UUID default is primary 4. Let's put in our user ID as a string. Table name as a string. Okay. Table name has one trade. A broker has one trade. I think the proper thing to do here is let me think about that for a second. Let me think. I think if I make it like an user profile, no, I'm gonna do an option. Where are you? Where option? Oh, I renamed you to stock option. That's why. So in our stock option model, we said option ID, but it also has one trade. Trying to think this through. No, let's hold off 1 second. Has one trade. I think I should say has one user, and it's user import. So you has one user. Where's the other pieces? We have a table name, which is just plain name. Put you in here, table name, sort columns, and you're just fine. Column, sort columns, string, columns order, and columns order, string, and a column visibility. Also a string. Yeah, hold on. I think I said that I wanted to make the column visibility what text? Hold on. I did it for journal. Journal model trade. There it is. Text. Sort should be fine. String should be fine to be a string, but text, column visibility, you might get a little long. And columns order might get a little long. But they are strings. They are definitely strings. And I guess I should make the columns. Yeah, let's make you a text just in case. So there's our base model. I do an upsert somewhere. Let's do the controller though. Da, 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 da. All right. Add controller. And our controller is going to be called paginated table config. It's kind of long. Export class paginated table config controller. I want to capitalize the T and I want to capitalize the C. Let's do a constructor. It's going to do a private read only. Paginated table config service. Such a long name. It's going to be paginated table config service. Or a long name. Use guards. We'll add an auth guard. They're all going to be the same. It's going to be a simple post. There's no reason for anything weird since we only have one post endpoint. HTTP code, HTTP status dot OK, and we'll do a create. We'll pass in the request. Any at body is going to be new config is what we'll call it, and you will be a paginated. You will be a new paginated table. Da, 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 da. And there's really nothing to return back. We'll import body, and you'll do the same thing as we do here, which is return a promise of a Boolean, which I can now update over here as well. Why not? U2, U3, U3. Awesome. Cool. And so then return this dot paginated dot create request and a new config. Return, yeah, yep, cool. Your body. Oops, no request. So now you're not unhappy, and so the last one, I don't have a delete at this particular point in mind, but let's go ahead and finish creating the getter. At get, and it's always going to be new. I can't do that. For a getter, I need to know a specific table name. I need to know a specific table name. It's going to be the same status get. What do I want to call you? Get table config. What am I returning? I don't care if they see the user ID. You are going to have a request. Now here's what we could use something universal. Do I want to though? Do I want I am unsure. I want to do a request. There's nobody here. No, you're of type any. And you're going to give me a promise of a paginated table config. And then you're going to return this dot paginated tables dot get table config from a request. And we need to pass in the table name. How do we want to do use? So like, this is one of those things where like I've been using a universal get single and it's an item ID, but some people will balk at the fact that that's really non-specific and generic, and it doesn't make sense for this particular thing. So we could create a new one. Get we'll call you paginated table name.model.ts. And name string at not null. What did we do for the model? Is not empty. Yeah, that's what it's called. The at is not empty. But the name has to match. So if we go back over to our controllers, it's got to be table name. And so it's got to be table name. So then we come back over to our controller and we say at param and paginated table name of type paginated table name. Import and then pass you along to our service. All right. We don't have a service yet. Let's finish making our pieces. Let's open up our module. Do the same thing in here. The paginated table doesn't really need to touch anything else. So we've done our models. We've done our controller. We need to do our module. Export class paginated table config module, capitalize U. Controllers, what are you equal to? Where paginated table config controller, yes. Imports, and then providers. Paginated table controller, and really your service. And imports what? Sequelize module dot. Let's see. Sequelize module dot for feature paginated table. Paginated table. Didn't I call you paginated table? Aren't you a paginated table? Oh, you're a paginated table config. Cool. Yeah, I think that finishes us off. So The only thing left is to create our paginated table config service. And then kind of test you all out. Let's drop you over here. Okay, yet. Injectable. Export class. Constructor. At inject. Nope. Inject model. Paginated table config. Let's create our model. Private read-only table config model. Type of paginated table config. Okay. There's our constructor. We'll do an async create. And we'll just grab you. What's on our controller? Close you, close you. Where's my controller? Paginated table config. Close you. New pet. Close you. No. Table config module? No. Controller. There you are. I need the new config, which is of a type new paginated table. So, service. Request. Type any and a, yeah. And you're going to return a promise of a Boolean. And let's clean these up over here on the right too. Why not? Yeah. Promise Boolean. Promise Boolean. Promise Boolean. Just adding some cleanup here in TypeScript. No real major anything happening. We know the user ID. We need to get it. I did an upsert here. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. So I'm going to use this sample upsert. And then mimic it off of here. So let's, there it is. So we're going to come over here and we're going to do a try table config model.upsert the new config. I think that's it. Table name. Yeah. Nope, that's it. And then our get is going to be the same thing. Async controller, I called you 1. Now you exist. Get table config. Async get table config request any and paginated table name. And you're going to give me a promise back of a paginated table config. What are we going to do with you? Do we have a function that looks stuff up by primary key and user ID? Look at that function. It looks something up by the primary key, which we won't have. So yeah, we'll just do a normal, we'll do a try. Do our standard catch. And we will return and await. We will return and await. Where you at? This dot table there's dot get find one where. Let's see, do I have an example that I can filter off of my own thing or create? I do a lot of find. I replaced a lot of my finds with that. Do I have a find one anymore example? Exchange services. I do. Cool. You stare at code long enough and you kind of forget stuff. Where user ID is going to be the same user helper. And table name is, yep. Yeah. No, that's it. SQLize makes things easier. Nest makes things easier. There we go. We don't have any tests just yet, but let's go ahead and add you to our app module. Let's see if you broke things. Missing one user. Okay. Okay. I know why. Let's clean you up. So let's do the same thing we did on trade. Yeah. Trade model. There you are. So on trade model, what I did was, yeah. So it belongs to a user. No. Belongs to a user. As foreign key. User. Allow null false. I think that will work. No. I guess it's not. I think it belongs to. Let's see. I killed my database though. User ID. Sort text, table name, user ID, not null. References user. Okay. Cannot create table. Oh, the foreign key constraint is incorrectly. Okay. Hold on. Oh, I know. Type UUID. There it is. I forgot. I need to type it as a UUID if I'm going to do it that way. And so let's take a look and see what that looks like in DataGrip. Tables. Refresh. Paginated table config. One, users. We don't want to adjust users. But our columns here, config ID, sort columns. There's our user ID, column visibility, column order, config ID. Cool. So you're good. So the back end is ready. The upsert is in place. Controller's in place. What we need to do is adjust our slices. So we need to come over to our front end next. To trade slice. Yeah. And we need to move these reducers into our extra reducers. I'm sorry, into our extra actions, so that when we set them, it will both set them here and in local storage. And yeah, but I think yeah. Let's stop things for right now and start implementing that. That way we don't have to worry about it breaking a bunch of stuff visibly. It'll break stuff other ways, but so let's start by setting our sort config. Set sort config actions where we pass in the base URL. Oh no, it's a different URL. Const paginated table config URL is going to be equal to this, but instead of that, the controller is going to be paginated table config. Cool. Okay. So paginated table config URL. Okay. All right. So we're still going to return an async. So we're still going to sort it. You're going to do all this stuff, all the things. Set sort config is what we're going to call you. What are we going to accept? We'll accept a generic sort config. And I don't know what that is equal to. We don't try anything yet. When we set it, you don't need to do any of this stuff. I do need a bearer token though. And you're going to do a post. There's nothing special about this one either. And there it is. And our data is going to be I do it somewhere here. There it is, post. And it's the data. So post data. Bearer token, don't need you. Set sort config. Sort config. Const. You're going to turn it into that, and I don't want it to. I want it to be a string. So, JSON string sort config is going to be equal to json.parse of the sort config that's coming in. You're going to send it along with the bearer token, and the backend should just take it. And you're going to take the page and the limit, the return you. Yeah, I'm not doing anything with that. And then in our slice, import. And then down here in our slice, we'll create a reducer. Set sort config. Default pending is fine. When we get the data back, we aren't going to set loading to anything because we don't care. Set loading to false. When we get it back, set we local storage, set it. Get trades reducer, set sort config. And then we no longer need our set sort config here. Oh no, I'm wrong. I am wrong. I am wrong. What you were going to accept is a paginated table config. And how do we want to handle you? Oh yeah, I know what we're going to do. Trade log. And then once I finish this one thing, I'll log off. Set column order. Set sort config. So we're going to make a const paginated table config object, which is going to consist of a table name, trade log, sort columns, which is going to be the JSON.parse sort config. I need to modify the actions then. There's no need to parse you. You will come as you are. And well, we will pass back the full paginated table config so that when we come back to our reducer, sort key, we are going to get const sort columns is going to be equal to json.parse action.payload dot sort columns. And I guess in theory we could put you all inside one thing. Well, you're going to JSON stringify you anyways. So yes, we want you. There's no need to unload you. And so I guess the question is, doing a lot of work here. We're doing a lot of work here. Hmm. We are doing a lot of work here. I know. I think I know. Um, I think I know. No, no. All right. So we have this. Um, let's try doing this. We'll call you the transformed table config, and you're going to be equal to these things, but JSON stringified. JSON.stringify. Otherwise, everything else is the same, which is just the table name and etc. 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 Da, 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 da. You're gonna take this, this, if it exists, dot sort columns, dot columns order, dot columns visibility. Otherwise, the rest comes from you, and pass it on to you, pass it on to you, and then in our slice, you're going to JSON.stringify, actually not payload.sort columns, yeah, and you're just going to be equal to it. Yeah. uh, paginated table config. Set sort config. Thunk. Oh wait. Dispatch. Expected 0. Why would you expect 0? Hmm. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, I know why. There it is. Create extra actions. Wait.dispatch. Da, da, da. There is no other. Page. Get trades. Get trades. Set sort config. Are you just being obstinate? Get trades. Curly bracket. Page. Oh, I still need to put it in curly brackets, don't I? Yeah, I guess I do. Mm-hmm. Now you are grumpy about it. Mm-hmm. There is no paginated table config. Yeah, see, it should just be paginated table config. I was being dumb. And then it should be parentheses reject with value. Yeah, it should be parentheses reject with value. Hold on. You're still being grumpy about some stuff. Let's see. Oh, all right. It's always been that way. Cool. Let's test this out real quick and see if it complains. And we'll fix it, and then we'll fix it, and then console open. Excuse me. This is the sort order. So let's sort. Okay. So a couple of things happen. Sort columns cannot be an array or an object. So even though we JSON stringified you, let's put a couple blockers in place. Let's put a debugger here to see what's happening. Sort, there it is. And what I'm looking at over here is this. Sort columns. Why are you not JSON stringifying yourself? Oh, I think I did the opposite. I think I need to do you first, and then that. And then let's refresh that. And now when we sort, Sort columns. Yeah, now it's a string. Now, let's see what happens when we hit play. Now you saved it. I think you sorted. Let's take a look at our database and see what's going on there. And see if that's saved correctly. Because I don't know if it did. Data grip. Data grip, data grip. Tell me the news. Refresh. It didn't work. Fiddlesticks. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, you did. No columns, no. There's the config, the keys in the trade log, created at, updated at. Yes, there we go. So that did work. But it doesn't, it no longer tells me the thing that I want. It looks like it did the paginated table hit. But it didn't update a couple things. So the paginated table got hit, which is fine. We pull back the paginated table config. I think there's something wrong with how memory, storage, local DB, that's on me. Undefined. Yep, that's on me. So when we finish with the trade slice, we get back this item. Let's debugger right here to see what's going on. So let's refresh. Let's sort by the symbol. And this is what we get back. Our action dot payload dot paginated. Oh, action dot payload dot paginated table config dot sort columns. So action payload dot paginated table config. Let's say action payload dot paginated table config dot sort columns, and that's what we want. So yes, and that should be fixed. Loading is false. Set state error to null. I'm surprised we didn't do this before. I should have fixed that. Let's see what the default fulfilled is. Yeah, we fixed that. Cool. No need for the debugger anymore. Let's do one last refresh. So if I say sort by call or put, you sorted it, but it doesn't look like your unexpected character at line 1 of the JSON data. Oh, did I say get? No. Sort config. Okay. Strike price. Okay. Strike price. You're sorting, but you're not displaying my icon. And I see no console errors. So then let's take a look at our arrows. Unless you're delayed. And I think it could be due to a delay. Where are you, table head? Where are you? Table head. Oh, did I take those out? I took those out. Hold on. Um, where is my paginated table pieces? Where? Fiddlesticks. All right. Checked, unchecked, journal, map, header, 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 header. I see. Oh, fiddlesticks. I had the sort icons in here. Um, the um, yeah, I forgot it. I'll fix it. I see the problem. And I'll use those little chevron icons too for up and down. Let's grab that. Uh, yeah. Several icons. Sort. Yeah, we put it right here. Let's import. Let's see how that looks. There we go. So now we have my little sort icons. Last name, margin start of 1. Yeah. So there we go. We got our strike price, our symbol sorts. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's the start of it. We got to finish doing the saves to the database. I need to also start measuring performance on here. It was 1 point as well. I'll put that as the do. So what I'll do is I'm going to call it an evening soon here, but I'm going to finish tomorrow. I'll probably finish the ability to save all the sorted information, the ability to edit the trade system I'll also do tomorrow, and then what do I have left? The ability to add and move various widgets. Don't know yet. I will leave that as it is for right now. And so that means that on Friday or on Wednesday, I might be sitting down here and doing a bunch of just testing to try to get things sorted out. Just walking through everything, making sure everything works. Then starting to update documentation, add missing tables in, things of that particular sort, and maybe start doing some unit tests. Performance functions. So I think one of the first things that I'll do is when I return to this project, I'm going to add performance functions, because though it seems snappy now locally, I don't want to swear on that as a whole. So I'd like to kind of test that out. Oh, whoa. Whoa. There's a flaw. I think I need to fix my upsert on the back end. I think, set it upsert. I think what I did to make that work is when I created my user profile model, I said it was unique. So that means I need to come back to which table. And this is a good test. So let's drop this table. And this is a great example of me testing out to make sure that it works. Paginated. Allow nulls, false type is unique. It recreated the table. Now let's see if you cause an error if I refresh. You don't. Call put, strike price. And now let's come over to here and look in the right table, because I have not. And then as you switch over to buy price, cool. So, but what if, let's sort you over to here. Oh yeah, I don't have that saved yet. Let me go ahead and finish putting in all the column visibility and columns order. Put in all of our, and then test it all out. The edit, I'm just procrastinating on the edit trade button, but I'll get it done. All right, thank you very much for tuning in. It is 10:31 p.m. on Monday, January 8th, 2024. Thank you very much for tuning in again for another couple of hours of me just trying out different things and practicing and staring at code and trying to actually move forward with the project. Please feel free to drop me a message anytime in chat. And